Hello, good afternoon. It's 12 o'clock. Welcome to the Midday News. The Midday News is live on Joy 99.7 FM in Accra and Hits 103.9 FM. We're also live on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi and, of course, on myjoyonline.com. We are live in all 16 regions of Ghana via our various affiliates, live on X Spaces and Facebook. The Midday News is supported by Petrosol Platinum Energy, energizing dreams. Coming up.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, we're using the phone. I'm just making a call. There's not be camera with this. Not be camera with this. Now. And not be camera with this. I tell you, just press the phone. I was talking to my producer. I'll slap you. Oh, don't slap him. This one be carrying video. I've slapped him. This one not be carrying video. Go and join it. Go and join the car. Not be carrying video. Let's go. Go and join the car.
Joy News journalist Carlos Caloni arrested by national security operatives while covering a demolition exercise along the Spintex Road. His equipment was reportedly destroyed, with some items also seized during the incident.
They've taken Carlos because they said they suspected him filming them when they came. So they seized his phone and then they took him to national security currently. So I am alone with the driver.
The multimedia group has condemned this attack. Also, former Minerals Income and Investment Fund CEO stopped at the airport over what the Office of the Special Prosecutor describes as an unauthorized travel attempt. Ghana Armed Forces fully takes control of Boku, Nalerigu, Binduri and Zebula, warning that the enforcement will be firm and strategic to restore peace and order in the conflict-affected areas.
We are upping our game. It just means that we will dominate the area more than we have done previously. It simply means that people living in the area must abide by the curfews, must lay down their arms and do the right thing.
But the municipal chief executive for Boku is raising concerns about the possible human rights violations amid the military's enforcement of the curfew and travel restrictions in the area.
I don't expect any professional conduct from the security apparatus.
Elsewhere in Asawasi in Kumasi, police believe a single suspect is responsible for the recent spate of shootings. A full-scale manhunt is underway to track down the gunman and ensure justice is served.
Our intel tells us that the individual that shot the chief on Wednesday is the same person who perpetrated the same crime on Friday. So we are on the heels of that individual.
In politics, NPP flag-bearer hopeful Kwabena Ejapon accuses certain individuals within the party of deliberately attempting to sabotage the ambitions of others by imposing exorbitant and unreasonable filing fees.
Monetization of our country should stop. There was an attempt by some to try and make it difficult for people who don't have that much resources to even become presidential candidates, where strange figures were being bandied about.
And in sports,
government rewards Black Queens for bronze medal as President Mahama targets historic AFCON title.
My name is Pearl Ofori. Let's settle for the details. Now, this morning, armed military officers obstructed Joy News reporter Carlos Caloni from covering a demolition exercise on the Spintex Road in Accra and physically assaulted a civilian who was speaking to the journalist at the scene. Mr. Caloni was taken into custody by operatives from the National Security and his mobile phone confiscated. The exact circumstances surrounding the incident remain unclear. It is still unknown what triggered the confrontation. But the development has raised fresh concerns over the safety of journalists in line of duty in Ghana. Now, this is what ensued.
Around 6:20. That was on when? Is it Thursday or some? It was Tuesday. I'm a pressman. What are you doing here? He's an eyewitness. What are you? Oh. What's happening? What's happening? You are pressmen. No, but the way he handled the machine can have an impact on it. We are here to report on what is happening. Yes, we are media men. Yes. We understand you are doing your work, but you cannot stop us from doing our work. Yes, respectfully. Yes. Okay. That's what still video. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We're using the. I'm just making a call. There's not be camera evidence. No be camera evidence. Now. And not be camera evidence. I tell you, just press the phone. I was talking to my producer. I'll slap you. Oh, don't slap him. This one be carrying video. This one not be carrying video. Go and join it. Go and join the car. Not be carrying video. Let's go. Go and join the car.
Well, Carlos Kaloni has since been released and he's joined us via telephone to tell us what happened. Carlos, if you can hear me, give us your own account of what ensued this morning.
Right, Pearl, like you rightly said in that audio, we got there before the military arrived. And I was speaking to an eyewitness who had witnessed the demolition on Midday. And so from nowhere, we heard firing coming, and the military just stormed the place and interrupted the interview I was having to the eyewitness. And the question why we were filming, and I had to tell them that the journalists just telling the story. Beyond there, I tried to speak to the head of the team to let him understand that we are on the ground in report. Around that time, we were to go on air, so I was speaking to the producer, and in the process of talking to the producer, another military man from behind said he thinks I was filming, and so he punched me from behind, direct blow to my neck 2 times and took me. And so at that point, I lost control and almost fell down. And so beyond, after all those things happened, they now said I was suspect, and they pushed me into a vehicle, and together with the group CEO of the Magban, with 3 others, to the National Security Head Office, where they kept us for about 45 minutes, and then they took me into the room and questioned me, and I told them that it was from Joy News having the happening, and they now checked the phones. And all this phone, they had 2 phones, and they went through the phones and asked me to delete videos from me, and that was what happened. They asked me to write a statement. I told them I had to get to my bosses for us to take it from the briefly. That was what really happened. There was no confrontation at all. We were actually filming when they came and assaulted.
Carlos Kaloni, thank you very much for giving us that account. We are glad that you are safe. Joining me in studio now is Joy News editor Elton John Brobe. Elton, we have a statement from Multimedia condemning this incident. What does it say?
Well, the statement strongly condemns the violent assaults and detention of our journalist Carlos Kaloni and his cameraman Jonathan Mensah-Quaye on the Spinters Road in Accra whilst covering a demolition exercise on Tuesday, July 30, 2025. The two, according to the statement, were reporting live from the scene when operatives believed to be from National Security dressed in military uniform attacked them without provocation. Carlos was interviewing an eyewitness when officers pounced on the civilian, beating and slapping him for speaking to the media. Carlos was himself struck twice in the neck and a clenched fist by one of the officers. In a shocking escalation, the operatives pushed over the mounted camera, causing significant damage, seized Carlos' phones and forced both him and his cameraman into a vehicle. They were driven to the National Security installation at Blue Gate, where they were detained. Their release came only after the personal intervention of the Minister for Interior, Alhaji Mohammed Muntaka. Carlos' personal microphone was also damaged in the assault, and he is currently receiving medical treatment. We just spoke to him. The entire episode was broadcast live on Joy News, and viewers across the country witnessed this brazen attack on press freedom in real time. Joy News condemns this act in the strongest term. This is not only an attack on 2 of our journalists, but also blatant affront to media freedom, the right to information, and the constitutional guarantee of free expression in Ghana. We demand, according to the statement, an immediate and transparent investigation by state authorities, sanctions against the operatives involved. Journalists, according to the statement, must be allowed to work freely and safely. We will not relent in our duty to inform the Ghanaian public. And this is signed by the senior editor here at Joy News.
Okay, he's also been joined by the senior editor, Evans Bensa. Evans, this is not the first time one of our own has been attacked in the line of duty. How is the multimedia group treating this particular incident?
Very seriously, as the statement communicates, we are taking this absolutely seriously. Also, because this is happening just too often recently, with sometimes non-state actors, sometimes state actors involved in assaulting journalists, and so that is why this for us is important. We're going to be roping in the GJA, obviously the NMC, and other like-minded folks in defense of press freedom as far as this is concerned, and calling out the operatives who were responsible for this. But I must also say, as the statement indicated, a big thank you to the Interior Minister for a swift response. When we called him, he acted very swiftly to get our reporters released immediately without further harm done to them. So we acknowledge that. But we still need to ensure that individuals and the operatives who assaulted the journalists are brought to book. And that is why we are making those two demands: an investigation thorough and transparent. And we are demanding that we are kept abreast of the outcomes. And then also we are demanding sanctions for those officers.
Our senior editor or Joy News, Evans Mensah, thank you very much for that. Now, Mr. Edward Nana Yaukurantin, former Chief Executive Officer of the Minerals Income Investment Fund, was stopped from boarding an international flight at the Kotoka International Airport on the 9th of 29 July 2025. My colleague Elton John Brobe, who just spoke to us, is in the studio with me. Elton, what more do we know? According to a statement from the Office of the Special Prosecutor, Mr. Krantin, who is currently under investigation by the OSP, and is on the OSP's inquiry bail, attempted to leave the country without obtaining the required express permission from the Office of the Special Prosecutor. And unknown to him, he had been placed on the travel watch list, commonly referred to as a stop list, due to the ongoing investigation. Immigration officials at the airport flagged his attempt to travel and took him into custody. As we are told, the Ghana Immigration Office informed the OSP of the incident. The OSP has since taken custody of the former MIF boss for further action on this matter. Elton John Brobe, thank you. And of course, we'll bring you more on that in our subsequent bulletins. In other stories, the Ghana Armed Forces have assumed full operational control of Boku, Nalerigu, Binduri and Zebila in a decisive move aimed at curbing escalating violence in the enclave. The military's deployment, which forms part of the broader national security strategy, comes amid renewed ethnic tensions and sporadic violence that have destabilized parts of the Upper East and Northeast regions in recent months. There's a statement from the Ghana Army, and my colleague Mami Esi Nyamiche Thompson joins me in the studio with more on that. But before that, let's listen to President Mahama at the meeting with the Gonja King at the Jubilee House.
Your Majesty, there can be no progress without peace, and I wish to commend you for the peace that reigns in Gonjaland. It is my wish that other areas will learn from the peace that Gonja enjoys. So I take this occasion to appeal to our brothers and sisters, Kusasis and Mamprusis, to give peace a chance.
You hear that President John Dramani Mahama, Mamisi Nyamiche Thompson, has more on the statement. Mamisi, what does it say?
Yes, so Pearl, the Ghana Armed Forces has fully taken control of Boku, Nalerugu, Binduri and Zebula, stepping up enforcement in those areas and to ensure that residents lay down their arms. The statement signed by the Acting Director General of the Ghana Armed Forces, Naval Captain Vero Ahin, says the move has been necessitated by armed elements, reprisals and innocent deaths. Now, the enforcement phase, according to that statement, says that it will see the military take robust and purposeful operations to enhance community protection and also ensuring that sanity returns to the affected areas. And also, according to the statement, the military will use all necessary force to restore law and order during its operations and has called on all citizens to adhere to law and order, including all agreed restrictions during the period, and that the curfew hours from 2 p.m. to 6 a.m. will be enforced to the latter. Meanwhile, any attempt to distract its operations or attack on its men will be met with the appropriate response.
Thank you very much, Mamisi Nyamiche Thompson. And of course, we'll be keeping an eye on the happenings in Boku and its environs. Now, we can now listen to Major General Lawrence Betano, who is the Chief of the Army Staff.
To operate in line with our rules and regulation, rules of engagements when we are engaged in an operation like this, and leave beyond reproach. We will continue to monitor your progress as you are launched into the operation. As the chief here, we are no longer going to undertake an exercise, but we are rather going to mount an operation, reinforce our colleagues on exercise Operation Madaburi, and sanitize the area very well. I made a commitment to the Ghana Army that I will lead from the front and I will serve alongside you. So I'm here.
Well, the Boku Municipal Chief Executive, that's Isaac Azunaba, says he's worried about potentially human rights abuses.
This time around, I know very well that the military command has given some briefing to the men on the ground, and since they were deployed here 2 days ago, you can see professionalism in how the residents citizens in Boku. So I don't expect any unprofessional conduct from the security apparatus.
And so now that they are in Boku, are they in your care? Are you responsible for their upkeep, or this is done by central government?
The upkeep is generally done by central government.
But the head of public affairs with the Ghana Armed Forces, Naval Captain Veronica Ahin, says the army will investigate any abuses reported.
They should make sure that they respect the curfews, as we have stated. So we are going to be more firm on the ground. The Ghana Armed Forces takes direct instructions from our President and Commander-in-Chief, and the directive is to step up our effort into a peace enforcement. And that is exactly what we are doing. We cannot be distracted to those discussions for now. Our aim is to ensure that those creating the problems in the Boku, Binduri, Nalerugu lays down their arms, hand over the weapons, and possibly we could go back to peacekeeping as we were.
And also this word robust from the president seems to be making the rounds. And exactly what does this mean if you're being robust? What actions entail there?
Let me simplify it. It just means that we are upping our game. It just means that we will dominate the area more than we have done previously. It simply means that people living in the area must abide by the curfews, must lay down their arms and do the right thing. And that is what it simply means.
Before the additional troops came in, we heard of some form of abuses that are ongoing by the military.
The Ghana Armed Forces, before we deploy every and any time, we have our SOPs that we follow. And abusing citizens is not one of them. And so any of our troops that is found doing that is punished. And so it is not part of our operations.
He had the head of public affairs of the Ghana Armed Forces, Naval Captain Veronica Ahin, speaking to Mamisi Nyamiche Thompson on Joy News Desk. Now, in a related development, intelligence from the Ghana Police Service reveals that a single individual is behind the recent multiple shootings recorded in Asawasi, a community in Kumasi. Speaking to Joy News, the Ashanti Regional Police PRO, DSP Godwin Ahianyo, stated that although no arrest has been made, security in the community has been reinforced as the search for the perpetrator continues.
So far, I must say that we haven't made any arrests in respect of the unfortunate shooting incident that happened a couple of days ago in the Asawasi area. But I must say security is very tense, and our men are on the ground ensuring that there is absolute peace and safety within the Asawasi community. So far, our intel tells us that the individual that shot the chief on Wednesday is the same person who perpetrated the same crime on Friday. So we are on the heels of that individual. We are taking our intel, and pretty soon, I'm sure we'll be able to get those perpetrators and bring them to justice.
Well, news just coming in. William Atuasian has been granted 10 million CD bail with 2 sureties, and he's been ordered to report monthly to the registrar and surrender his passport. You're listening to the Midday News on Joy 99.7 FM. Still to come, NPP flag bearer hopeful Kwabena Japan accuses certain individuals within the party of deliberately attempting to sabotage the ambitions of others by imposing exorbitant and unreasonable filing fees. Details of that and others coming up shortly.
Monetization of our country should stop. There was an attempt by some to try and make it difficult for people who don't have that much resources to even become presidential candidates, where strange figures were being bandied about.
When budgets are tight and money difficult to come by, you want to be sure you get the best value for your money. These are not times to be spending money fixing expensive engine problems because of cheap fuel and lubricants. Drive to a petrol source station today and buy your quality fuel and lubricants, and rest assured of fuel that lasts long and lubricants that prevent expensive engine problems. Hear the sound. Petrosol, clean fuel in full quantity.
When I wake up in the morning, I brush my teeth with Kale Charcoal toothpaste. This gives me confidence all day.
Anytime you meet Amma, don't be surprised I smile showing my beautiful white teeth because I don't have cavity thanks to Kale Charcoal toothpaste for its natural charcoal properties. In fact, we are like twins. I can't go without my Kale Charcoal toothpaste.
That be why I dey use Kale Charcoal toothpaste morning and night when I dey go bed safe. It dey make my teeth white when it dey comot every scent from my mouth inside. My confidence level they go up, so I dey show my 32 teeth all.
Introducing the Kale Charcoal toothpaste, formulated with activated bamboo charcoal powder, ensures whiter teeth and removes bad breath. The strong natural property of the activated bamboo charcoal removes bacteria, absorbs surface stains on our teeth caused by coffee, wines, and tobacco. Welcome, Kale Charcoal toothpaste. Kale Charcoal toothpaste, Sankofa Yenchi.
Kale, happy smile.
This advert is FDA approved.
Wherever you are, the game is nothing without you. It's on like never before this season. Every major league, every cup, every qualifier, the players, Kudus, Semenyo, Iñaki, the goals, the emotions, and the bragging rights. It's all on SuperSport, available on DSTV and GoTV. Get your DSTV decoder at 89 cedis and GoTV decoder at 399 cedis. DSTV, your home of entertainment. GoTV. Love it.
The Global Conference on Human Resources in Africa returns this August 13th to 16th. Join HR thought leaders, business executives, and technology enthusiasts for a 4-day immersive experience at the Kempinski Hotel. This year, we welcome back Johnny C. Taylor Jr., CEO and President of SHRM, Emily M. Dickens, Chief of Staff, and we welcome Andy Belado, SHRM CTO, and Nicole Herskowitz, Corporate VP of Microsoft 365 and Copilot. Of course, we are joined by our very own Dr. Francis Aduku, CEO of CIHRM Ghana, Honorable Dr. Abdul Rashid Palpua, Minister for Labor, Jobs and Employment Ghana, and many other global trailblazers. Attend and earn SHRM PDCs and CPDs from IHRM and HRMAU. For more information, visit gchrafrica.com or call plus 233-55408-1727. GCHRA is organized by KUSI Consulting and powered by SHRM. Sponsors and partners include Kempinski Hotel, CIHRM Ghana, IHRM Kenya, HRMAU Uganda, AHRPL Liberia, Adansi Travel, Senrap Consult, ICS Africa, Rwanda Air, and more to be announced. See you there.
And you're welcome back to the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. We have sport and Mubarak is here. What's
Pearl? So President John Mahama, he has rewarded the Black Queens with an undisclosed amount of money for their bronze medal finish at the Women's Africa Cup of Nations. He also expressed optimism about the team's ability to win a first ever AFCON title under his leadership.
So on behalf of myself and Jane, I want to congratulate you. Thank you for the good job you did. We'll keep watching your progress, and I'm sure that in the not too distant future, we'll come with something more worthy than bronze, maybe silver, or even maybe gold. I am an optimist. I know I'll see you here before I leave office as president, you come to this Jubilee House with a gold medal.
Well, that's President of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama.
Mubarak, thank you so much for bringing us the latest in the world of sports. We can now do politics. New Patriotic Party flag-bearer hopeful Kwabena Ejipon has raised strong concerns over what he describes as deliberate attempts by certain individuals within the party to undermine the ambitions of potential aspirants through the imposition of exorbitant filing fees ahead of the announcement by the General Secretary. As you may be aware, the party announced a 600,000 cedi nomination and filing fee for the presidential race, but Joy News is learning some leading members had proposed between 2 and 5 million cedis as filing fees. Speaking to Joy News, the former General Secretary of the party said the practice of setting what he termed unreasonable financial barriers is undemocratic and risk alienating committed party members who may lack the financial muscle to contest.
Monetization of our country should stop. It is. And all of us politicians, and there was an attempt by some to try and make it difficult for people who don't have that much resources to even become presidential candidates, where strange figures were being bandied about. But in the end, good sense prevailed. And now we have 600,000, still a lot of money. Some were even clamoring for more. And I had to stand up and caution that we have the Ghanaians out there. What impression do we want to send to them? Politics is not for sale. The party is not for sale. The country is not for sale. All I want to talk to the electorate, that the power resides in their bosom.
Well, Mr. Japan is also unhappy that the recent Congress of the party, which adopted some constitutional reforms, failed to deal with issues that continue to make the party unpopular.
Change provisions in our constitution, you need a 2/3 majority. And it's very difficult to be able to determine from a voice vote what 2/3 is. I think that as we move forward as a political party, we've got to improve the way we do things. This voice vote was used the first time in 2009, and some of us protested. So I was thinking that several years down the line, it would have improved the way we do our. I had suggested that the reason why the framers of the Constitution said these motions should be sent to the constituencies a month before was to give them an opportunity to deliberate on each of the motions. The motions were never sent. It was the raw proposals, 300 of them, and we all don't like reading. That is why we all talked about the reforms.
Let's stay a little longer on the party because it is explaining the circumstances that led to the selection of the constituency treasurer of the party in Akwatia to contest the upcoming parliamentary by-election. Here is the Deputy General Secretary of the party, Haruna Mohammed.
When you read Article 12 of our party's constitution, a selection of parliamentary candidates. It is selection. So the party put to light a committee to go and start the route of doing selection. All the interested parties agree that the road to becoming the candidate for Akwatia should not go through by election. They should have a consensus. And all of them came together to agree that the treasurer of the party, which is Mr. Solomon Asumadu, to be the sole candidate for Akwatia.
But the NDC Deputy General Secretary Mustafa Gbande says the NPP by their action has failed the democracy test.
We believe that opening up a process gives an opportunity for a candidate that is much loved by majority to emerge. And when that happens, you will get the best candidate. The NPP is scared because they have devastation in terms of factions in Akwatia. They also know that as it stands, to frame a candidate that best fits to the credibility and integrity of our demised young member of parliament, Ernest Yaokumi, they cannot get. And so they can only go and sit in the room to change this out because Kennedy will have an interest as to who become the parliamentary candidate in Akwatia. Dr. Baumia will have an interest. Dr. Brian Achampon will have an interest. The party is disintegrated.
Away from politics, the Registrar of the Ghana Scholarship Secretariat, Alex Kweku Asawasi, has announced that the government is committing $1 million towards settling part of the debt owed the University of Memphis following growing concerns over unpaid fees for Ghanaian students studying there on government scholarship. This assurance comes in the wake of reports that 181 Ghanaian students at the University of Memphis are facing possible academic dismissal and potential visa revocation due to the $3.6 million debt in unpaid tuition and housing fees. The situation has sparked anxiety among affected students and their families, with calls on the government to act swiftly to prevent disruptions to their education and legal status in the United States. Mr. Asawasi emphasized that the Secretariat is actively engaging with the university authorities and other partners to secure a long-term resolution and avoid similar occurrences in the future.
University of Memphis, we are on course. Students will not be deported. I give you that assurance. Even I think we are in the process of paying them some money this week. We are in the process of paying some money to them this week. So because the audit is ongoing, we are not paying all. We already paid 400,000 to them. We owe them 3.6, so remaining 3.2. We are paying them 1 million. If that is go through, now the money is at controller. It moves from there to Bank of Ghana, and the transfer is made to Washington.
And that's how we end the midday news on Joy 99.7 FM. My name is Pearl Ofori. Good afternoon, and thanks for your time.